we're most miserable because we think we're waiting on the day to happen, and as soon as possible for us, that we can get free from this carcass, this dead man's bones that we carry. Come on now. Yeah, come on. Now the aches and pains, I can sympathize or empathize with you. You know what I'm saying? Because getting out of bed at 50 compared to 20 is a whole other thing. You hear what I'm saying?
Lord.
So I can empathize with you on that aspect. But there's a greater glory locked in us that's greater than what the sickness that comes from our physical body or the impediments that's locked up in our soul.
Yes.
Even though we have to reset our soul. Are you following me? This is what this fire will do. It will reset your soul. You better catch it. We need to understand that this fire is not here to bring destruction. It's to reset our soul so that we can be positioned. See, y'all ain't even writing. You need to be trying to write it. I can hear nobody tell you. I get it on YouTube. Good blood. But our soul needs to be reset. Because you got to understand, this 2,000 years has been for resetting our soul. Returning to the Lord. Am I right? Bringing us back into our original identity. Come on, y'all. Isn't this what it's all been about? With all the trappings and all the appeals of charismatic stuff and the gifts, all 9 was actually endowed to the church so that we could be framed with the right framework, learning to allow the spirit man to be in his rightful place so that our soul can participate in the glory that is yet to be revealed.
Amen.
Like it says in Romans in the 8th chapter, go over there real quick with me. Romans 8. Romans 8. Yeah. We're going to get this. This third installment of the goodness of the Lord. We're going to get this. I'm always leery when I bring a truth because it's like, I want it to be received how I got it. And it's a chance, it's a high chance, that by the time it lands where it needs to land, it's liquidated. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes I want you guys to get it like I got it off the press. At least a 60-40 split, you know what I'm saying? No, 10-90 or 28 ain't gonna do it with you. You know what I'm saying? Come on. Romans 8 and 8 says, Romans 8 and 8. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please God, But you are not in the flesh, but in the spirit. You're not in the flesh, but in the spirit. How can he make that statement when I do wrong things? If so be that the Spirit of God dwell in you. Now, if any man have not the Spirit of Christ, he is none of his. If any man have not, what? The Spirit of Christ. Is there a dichotomy with the Spirit of God and the Spirit of Christ? Not at all. 2 different administrations. The Spirit of God and the Spirit of Christ. Hopefully, before you learn how to live in the Spirit, you receive the Spirit of Christ. That's the adoption. See, because you'll still struggle in your flesh if you haven't been accepted.
Yes.
So he says the reason why I live like a vagabond or a bastard is because I have not awakened to the fact that I have the Spirit of Christ. Therefore, I always walk in high levels of rejection, even though truth has been made available to me.
That's good. Yes. Amen.
Am I right? Hold on, y'all, you want me to twist it off for you? Now, if any man have not the Spirit of Christ, he's none of his. But you are not in the flesh, but in the Spirit. So there's a transition. We're not in the flesh. And if I can crank it up a whole nother knowledge, whole nother level of knowledge, and you probably really mess you up, but the flesh here is not necessarily talking about the bad part.
Come on.
It's talking about the part that's not yet, has been awakened to its true identity. Because most of us think death has been somehow fixated on us because of we're always going to be in the flesh. It has to do with passion. So the reason why I'm struggling to become everything that God called me to be is because I haven't been accepted or I haven't understood the spirit of acceptance, the Spirit of Christ and His role. Remember in Galatians 4 it talks about, though I be Lord of all, I'm still a servant.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We haven't understood the huiothesia.
Right.
Yes.
And this adoption is not the Western version. Huh? When you don't have the blood in your veins,
That's right.
but you still get a right to the house.
Yeah.
No. In the Eastern culture, which I got a teaching I'm putting together called the Mother Side of the Tent. Because they're going to transition us to understand, because we're going to leave the church and get in the Father's house.
Amen.
Amen.
So we can be raised as sons. Because that's what we need to be raised at, with a sonship mentality.
Amen.
If you ever get, if that word ever sink and resonate in your mind and in your heart, the cords will be broken. You talking about a liberty, a freedom? I'm talking about you understanding, no matter what I do, I ain't got to prophesy, cast out a devil, I ain't got to do none of the works. All I can do is understand that I've been accepted by the Father. His approval is so consistent in my life that I don't have to do anything without my relationship to bring confirmation to my relationship with Him. Now, we want you to do those things. Don't get it twisted. But you need that first. So that when you are released to ministry or released to be deemed as capable of doing ministry, you have the capacity to do ministry, then you'll do it with the right spirit. And let me move on. And if Christ be in you, the body is dead because of sin, but the spirit is life because of righteousness. But if the spirit of him that raised up Jesus from the dead dwell in you, he that raised up Christ from the dead shall quicken your mortal bodies by his spirit that dwelleth in you. Therefore, brethren, we're not debtors to the flesh, to live after the flesh. In other, there's a transition, the juxtaposition, as they call it. Against, he's given us a dichotomy, let you know that you're not obligated to live like you've been living. Help me out. That's what I see. You don't owe who you used to be nothing. This is what the baptism of fire will begin to instill in you. Amen? When you begin to know that I've been baptized and I've been accepted in him, and you know that this unquenchable fire is resetting your soul, adjusting you to begin to think from a whole other frequency. Where you think kingdom things. Who want to think kingdom?
Sir.
I don't know about you. I want to think kingdom. I want to wake kingdom. I want to get up kingdom. I want to be known as a kingdom man.
Amen.
Yes. Yes.
Not just in this building. I just want folks to be able to say, man, he has some type of order. He had a what they call a supposition for doing things that's right. A character that's impeccable. So the ministry of the Spirit, as we've given you those 4 verses, we need to understand I'm not confined to my flesh any longer. If the Spirit of Christ is in me, and he is in you, so you have to tell your mind, you have to learn through the scriptures, you have to allow God to awaken your senses.
Mm-hmm.
So it won't just be some ink. It's not a jot or tittle. It's not a jot, it's not a tittle. It's the living word. Who was that? Somebody prayed that the living word would be here. Toya, yeah. So that the living word would be here. That's what it's all about. Thank God for what's written.
Yes.
It's not enough. It's not enough. That's why we have all these factions and these wars. If the living word ever, if we really embrace what the living word is all about, just imagine how the kingdom will be so affluent. You get what I'm saying? It'd be so pervasive, man. We wouldn't even have to try to figure out what denomination you were on. So people won't be able to gainsay nor resist. So you don't have to try to get into no theological dissertation. For what? I am the Word. His Word is written in my heart. That's ultimately the goal, y'all. So we have to get in the Word, let the Bible teach us that this baptism of fire is not the spooked out of sight thing. It's great and terrible, I admit. Okay, that's my disclaimer. If you don't want to get in it, to get you. Okay, I'm sorry. It's coming to you, through you. That's a given. You can Try to postpone it all you want to. But I guarantee you, once it's settled and the ashes are left, you're going to be so glad that God, through his mercy, didn't consume you, but he consumed it. Whatever it is, he consuming it.
Amen. Amen.
So that your allegiance, like I said a couple teachings ago, so your allegiance can be verified. That's what he wants to do. He wants to verify your allegiance. Am I right? Anybody want it? I do. I want my. I want it. That's why we got to bring forth fruit, meat for the repentance. That's the verification. Amen. But the fruit ain't showing up till after the fire.
All right.
Then we're gonna be fruitful. It's folks that know it even in the agriculture, in the natural. They know that, if I want to start off, I want to reset my land. If I want to reset the soil, all I got to do is burn it.
That's true.
Help me out, am I right, Rudy?
That's true. Yes.
If the soil wasn't up to standard,
Burn it.
he leveled the playing field and reset it. Same thing with us. If the soil is not up to standard, the fire is leveling the playing field. Maybe we'll get a good song out of here on fire. That'd be nice. I hit my glasses and heard it through my little thingy here. So we got to get this, folks. We got to know that this day the baptism of fire is available to all of us. It's the appointed hour, the time of fulfillment, because it's bringing us into the Feast of Tabernacles. And I told you in the Feast of Tabernacles, there's no room for just anybody. There's room for one man. Am I right? Who's that man? Okay, thank you. It's not apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, teachers. It's the people that's been swallowed up in him. Like Jesus was. When you see me, you see the Father. And he said, the works that I do, greater works shall you do. And most of us think about the dunamis.